All right, waiting for someone to join me. We'll see if they do. Chatting and painting as usual, but I'd actually like to ask somebody some questions. We'll just have to wait and see if that somebody shows up to ask the questions, and that somebody would be my brother. You know, do a little interview with my brother. I sent him the link, but you know, I know what I can do though. I can go to his Facebook Messenger and be like, "Hey, what you doing? B Hodge, stop whatever it is and come on here and chat with me." It's kind of crazy. Every time I go to Facebook, it's like a couple of pictures, some politics, and then like scantily clad women dancing around. It's kind of weird, you know. Hmm. All right. Let's see if he wakes up since I sent him a wake up call. I've got other secret weapons up my sleeve. I got them. Okay, let's back out of the app for making armies, and let's go down to his name. We're gonna call this punk ass. Calling his punk ass.
What are you doing this nigga, Ronnie?
I sent you multiple links, and now I'm calling you.
I am not even anywhere near able to do that right now.
Where are you driving?
I'm on my way to Tennessee to grab some clothes and stuff to come back up to Kentucky.
Oh, well, damn.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I guess I'll talk to you later then.
Hey,
What?
guess what?
What?
Chicken butt.
I'll talk to you later.
I love you, dork.
Love you too. Bye. All right. So that's not going to work out for me at all. It looks like. Well, that's okay. That's okay. So, things that are happening. One, I'm going to find my Warhammer Destiny book, and I'm actually going to do a video on it today or tomorrow explaining what's good about it and why, if you want to play a mech warrior battletech etc role-playing game, it is a great option. You know, there are those who might like Time of War. I'm not one of them because I just think it's too well. I mean, I haven't seen the second printing, which I hear fixed character generation, but the first printing character generation was just out of control. you know. It like was so disordered that it was like it would be like, okay, choose your strength, and then you choose your strength, and then it'd be like, okay, now you have to do this, and this is going to be based on something you haven't even chosen yet. I mean, it was just really bad. It was really bad. So, if you hear coughing in the background, that is my wife. We both managed to catch a cold over the weekend or during the week. So, good times, good times, but hit her a little bit harder. However, as a woman, she's a little bit tougher. So, like me, if I get a bad cold, I'm a big baby. She just takes a bunch of medics and keeps on trucking. So, yeah. I am, not that you guys asked, but I am putting together the final couple of my aliens. These guys, other than getting some black paint to touch up a couple of areas, because parts of their feet are molded into the base, and I dry brush the base with silver paint, which means some of them have silver toes, etc. So I'll have to get some black paint and touch that up. And then, other than that, these guys are getting a gloss coat and they are done. You know what I mean? Done. So, because slick, glossy looking black aliens, that's exactly what you need, right? I think so. I recently did a video on why people should play A Song of Ice and Fire instead of The Old World. If you haven't seen it, you might want to. I consider it to be a pretty good video, to be perfectly honest. Pretty good. Spoiler, the main reasons are cost and availability. See, the thing with Warhammer is, for a lot of people, it can be cost prohibitive. And I mean, I'm not one of those guys that's going to be like, get a better job or whatever. I mean, I've bought a shit ton of Warhammer over the years, but I'm not that guy. I'm not going to be like, get a better job, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to say that the thing that really, really pisses me off about Games Workshop, even more than like the cost of the miniatures, which have went up so drastically over the last years, that it's almost like a joke, like a 10-man squad of Space Marines. Yeah, that used to be like $29, and you could get a Rhino for like $19, and it's like, okay, so the sculpts are beautiful, absolutely, but the problem is, in my opinion, and this is just me stating an opinion here, so don't kill the messenger, but the main problem of this is that at some point somebody needs to realize that these are game pieces. And you know what? The old Monopose Space Marines that came out in second edition. Hey, how you doing, Mobius? I hope you're doing very well up there in frozen Canuckistan. And I am talking about Warhammer. Back in the day, like when I got into Warhammer 40K and Warhammer Fantasy, because I got into both. it was like they kind of knew they were making game pieces. So your Space Marines that came with second edition were pretty much just push fit the bolter onto the body, paint it, play the game, right? The orcs were the same. So it was like super kind of easy to be up and running with it. If you were someone like me that just automatically loved Blood Angels, then you go to the store, you get yourself some bright red matte spray paint, spray your miniatures, and then paint the bolters and the eyes, and pretty much be done, right? And ready to play. Pretty chilly out there. I bet it is. You know, the orcs from second edition were a little bit more difficult to paint, but Space Marines were super easy. And like I said, I was Blood Angels from the get-go, so all I needed was some really red matte paint, and I was ready to rock, you know? And then they introduced the multi-part kits, which honestly, I'm not going to complain about. I like the multi-part. I think those were like Mark 9 Space Marines. And I like those kits because every part of the kit fit with every other part of the kit. So, hey, how you doing, James Lowry? So you could literally just grab your Space Marines and clip all the parts off the sprues into a giant pile on the table. You know, let's say tactical squad is what I'm talking about. And then put them together however you want it. You know, glue the legs to a base, put the torso on it, then pick whichever arms, line them up, put the freaking gun in there. I mean, it was so easy, to quote Ryan George, barely an inconvenience. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, when they switched over to Primaris, all of the figures become monopose. And like I said in the video about Age of Ice or Song of Ice and Fire, I'm not opposed to monopose unless I have to build the monopose miniature out of like 9 parts. And every single part has to go exactly a certain way, or the miniature is just wrong and you're going to have to tear it apart and change stuff, you know? I mean, at that point, it's like, why? And I know why, because the detail on the new Space Marines is amazing. They've added so much, like, to the point that you could almost argue that these things are like works of art, right? But therein lies the rub, because they're not works of art. They're playing pieces. And there has to be a happy medium there between, yeah, these figures look really good. I like them. And they're playing pieces. So I can get them together relatively, you know, expediently, paint them up in a relatively quick time period, and have them on the table to play the game. At some point, hey Jose, how you doing, bro? At some point, people forgot that the point of Warhammer 40K is to play Warhammer 40K, regardless of which edition you prefer. Like me, I like 7, but even if you're one of the guys that are super hardcore into 10th edition or whatever, I mean, people have forgot that the point of the game is to play the game, not to spend hundreds of hours building miniatures for a game that you hardly ever play. I mean, that's not, you know, And that's one of the strong points I think about Battletech. I need to make some more Battletech how to paint miniatures videos, because I had a whole collection of how to paint Battletech minis. And one of the best things about Battletech is, one, the minis look good. Two, the new Catalyst miniatures are good. They're really good. Whether you love or hate Catalyst for whatever bullshit they've been doing lately, the new miniatures are really cool. Like, I bought a whole company of urban mechs just because of the meme. Female custodians. See, yeah, that pisses me off. But the problem with the female custodian is if they ever make a miniature, it'll be a 20-piece thing, but it'll only be able to be put together in one way. And it's like, okay, if the miniature is going to be monopose, that's what I'm saying. If it's going to be monopose, then why are you making it so complicated to put together? That's just, for lack of a better word, ridiculous. Yeah. Well, you know what? Catalyst can hate me, and I will continue to buy Catalyst mechs. And if I ever talk to any of the Catalyst people like online, I'll tell them, love your mechs, but you guys are a bunch of pieces of shit. And I'll let it drop at that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, call me weak, call me whatever, but gotta have those mechs. Like right now, I've got a green black knight. I guess he's a green knight. One of my favorite old school 2750 mechs. Got a couple Marauders. Of course, I play the Marauder MRL, which is the Merrick version that, gives up the PPCs for large lasers. But look at these things, right? Love or hate Catalyst, they at least realize that the mech figures are playing pieces, right? They come in mostly one part, and they are super easy to paint, and you can have them in under 30 minutes. I can have a mech painted and on the table, ready to go. There are alternatives. I have them. I have hundreds of 3D printed mechs. But the point is, I like these guys because they're just okay. I just snapped his arm out of the socket. I didn't know the arms were socketed. I like these guys because this plastic is semi-soft. So if I drop it on my tile floor, I don't have to worry about it shattering. Actually, I didn't know these guys were socketed in. That's kind of cool. That means you can actually maneuver the arm around if you want. Huh. I wonder if the torso is socketed in. It looks like it is. So you could probably twist the torso off so that you could, I don't know, magnetize the torso. That would be good, right? I like to magnetize torsos on some of my other mechs, just so that when you're playing the game in it, you do the torso into, you know how at the end of your movement, you can do a free torso twist? Yeah. So magnetizing torsos is actually a really good idea, I think. I mean, you don't got to do it, obviously, but it's something I like. Also, the scale is different. The original Battletech mechs are 6 mil. The Catalyst mechs are not 6 mil. They're like HO scale or some shit like that. And on top of that, they they're to scale with each other, which is kind of a big deal, right? Like one of the problems with the metal mechs is Ralph Artha, God bless him. That kid did a great job making all kinds of miniatures. But when they were making Baltech figures, like I have some of the metal urban mechs, and they are huge. They're just massive for a 35-ton mech or whatever. They're just, as big as some heavies, right? But if you look at the Catalyst mechs, you can definitely right off the bat tell the difference between a heavy, a light, a medium. They did a way better job at making sure things were scaled correctly. That's a Valkyrie right there. So 25 tonner. So yeah, are they a bunch of scumbags that sold out and bent the knee to the wokies on the left? They are. You're not wrong. They did. Especially that trans person that did everything they could to lie, cheat, and steal and get that guy fired. That's bullshit. And I wrote a letter, just like everyone else did. I wrote a letter and I told him what I thought about it, and it probably didn't matter, but hey, I wrote a letter. Now, since that time, I haven't really bought any new mechs because I've already got like well over. I think the last time I did a mech count up, I have almost 900 mechs. So I have plenty of mechs. So I really don't need anything that they're making, especially since I play 3025 and I pretty much got every mech from 3025. So if they're going to make, these new unit packs that have like, all these mechs that from like different eras, I don't give a shit because I am not going to play those eras. Therefore, I'm not going to buy those mechs, right? And I'm probably not going to buy their vehicles because I've got tons of vehicles. Yeah, I've got tons of vehicles, like the old actual lead ones. So I'm not too worried about that. Even though the vehicles I prefer to use in game are Kharkovs and Maxims. However, if I'm going to use battle tanks, I like the Patton Rommels. I've got a platoon of those. The old mechs from, again, 3025. I don't really bother with anything that's not 3025. So, and I've got plenty of aerospace fighters too, Shilohs, Lucifers, etc. I've got them. So, not too worried about it. So, for me to buy more mechs from them after everything, they would have to offer 3025 mechs that I don't have. And that just doesn't exist. So, yeah. And of course, as I've told you guys multiple times, one of my favorite mechs is the Orion. I have multiple Orions, 3D printed and Catalyst Games. And the reason is because the Catalyst Games has the whatever the model is, but the 3D printers, they've done multiple models of the Orion. So I have, Orion mechs that are like, the K variant and all kinds of different variants because the Orion has like 7 damn variants. And anything I want to play in the 3025 era, I absolutely can do because I have the heavy metal program, which is the program that the actual original creators used to make their mech sheets. And it's on the mech sheet. If you print a mech out that was made with heavy metal, it's tournament legal, unless the tournament says, no modifications or whatever, which is how I play anyway. We don't do mods, we do models. So instead of allowing somebody to mod up a mech however they want, which generally just leads to somebody playing a heavy mech with like 1 billion medium lasers on it, we will allow people to play models. So an example of that is Hungar, who is driving to Tennessee to get close so he can drive back to Kentucky. Hungar likes to play the Javelin F4 variant, which is a House Curta variant of the Javelin that gets rid of all of the missile launchers for medium lasers. So basically, it's a slower, more heavily armored. Hey, there's that. It's a slower, more heavily armored Jenner, pretty much at that point. Give me a second left. And that is a mech that he really, really likes to play. Whereas, I'm always going to play my stock Griffin no matter what. Okay. I see what I've done. Poor Lath. He's like, yo, man, I'm your fellow Commonwealth sidekick. Why can't I come in? Because I didn't put the stuff in. But yeah, for me, it's almost always going to be, no matter what tonnage we're playing, as long as it's 55 tons or above, I'll be playing a Griffin. And I'll play a stock Griffin. It's a great sniper mech. You just keep that Joker at, long range against most enemies and call it a day, right? Call it a day. If there we are. Like if they're playing, unless your opponent has a lot of long range weapons.
Hey,
I see you've got a cartoon anime of the Trump was right about everything. How you doing?
Oh, good.
We were discussing a little bit about BattleTech, but
yep. I sadly can't contribute to that. I don't know much about BattleTech.
I know, so I'm willing to swap it up real quick. Since I'm just talking about mechs and which mechs I think are the best.
How
about
this? In one of my favorite little tank games, I was able to get 2 kills with 1 shot in an M1 Abrams.
Damn.
And I killed a Eurofighter with a improved Chaparral.
Are you playing like World of War tanks or whatever?
War Thunder.
War Thunder. Basically the same damn thing. You got a cold?
Probably.
Yeah, we got something a couple of days ago we've been fighting off too.
It's been very cold around here.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
We're getting ready for an ice storm. Got the generator out and ready.
Jenner 2C is a clan mech, but the Jenner JRD7 is 3025, and you can also get the Jenner JRD7F. There's like 4 variants of the Jenner from 3025. But I mean, you know, Jenners were so powerful in the Battletech League that I used to be a member of 30 years ago that the guys who ran the league, a couple of school teachers, actually made a rule where you couldn't have more than 2 Jenners in your force composition. And that was because of your boy being a big cheater and showing up to a tournament that they said you can have 350 tons of mechs, and I showed up with like 10 Jenners. And people were like, what? Because the Jenner's so fast and hits so hard, if they're playing heavy mechs, all I got to do is stay away from them. And then, are you going to be okay in there? All right. That last one sounded like you were maybe giving birth to a chest burster or something. I said that because I got aliens on the table. So, but anyway, yeah, every game, the guys that had all the heavier mechs and stuff, I'd just run from them like Mongolians. I'd just run circles. And then every time I won initiative, I would run into the back where they couldn't shoot me back and just unload. And then anytime I lost initiative, I'd just run away and hide. And that was so much fun for everyone else at the tournament that they decided to change rules.
It was so great that they decided that should never happen again.
And you know what? They were right. They were 100% right. But sometimes to prove something's away, you got to
do it. Yeah, that's what happened in the Yu-Gi-Oh tournament.
You know, because people don't want to listen to you. You know, when you're like, I think these things might be a little OP, and they don't want to listen. So then you wreck the shit out of somebody's face with them. And all of a sudden, they're all like, yeah, I think you're right. Those things are a little OP. It was like, yeah.
Somebody did that in a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament because they were like, why is there no card limit? Okay, then I'll just make a super big deck. And annoyed everybody with it.
And now there's a card limit?
Yes, and now there's a card limit.
See, in the vampire game, I think the card limit's 100. And there's like, I don't know if there's a limit for how many copies of any particular card you can have. But
usually in a card game, they'll just make it 3 per copy, like 3 copies of the same card.
3 or 4, yeah. In Vampire, I don't think there is one, but if you were to just put like tons of copies of the same few cards in the deck, you are going to lose.
Doesn't turn out well, huh?
Because let's say you build a deck and you just fill it full of combat cards. You know, at some point you will be facing a hardcore political deck and they're going to eat you alive. You know what I mean? Because you won't even have cards to freaking
do anything with it.
Do anything with them. You know, they'll be calling political actions to blood hunt your vampires and all kinds of crazy ass shit. And you'll be sitting there not able to respond to that. So yeah, it won't be a lot of fun for you. And that's pretty much why you want to make sure to build as balanced of a deck as possible. But you know, I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh! I've had it explained to me, and to me, it seemed like you and your opponent put cards on the table, then you do some basic math, and then someone wins.
Pretty much, yeah. At least it's more intricate than Pokemon. Pokemon just, there is no real strategy. Whoever gets the right cards wins.
Right. Yeah, I gave it a try one night. I was playing Magic and some guys are like talking Pokemon. I was like, I'll give it a try. And yeah, I was like, this is so simplistic. It's like,
yeah, there's nothing to it. It is literally just a snowball game. Whoever gets an early lead usually just wins in Pokemon.
Yeah.
At least the card game. The video game's just filled with cheaters, so there's no real reason to play that either.
Right. Freaking everybody's playing traps. But so on the table today, I'm going to let my aliens completely dry from the glue that I've put on them. And I'm probably going to put magnets on the bottom of them because they're a little bit light. And the magnets, whether I magnetize them at all or anything, don't matter. They'll at least add the weight to them that'll keep them from tipping over, because I mean these aliens are all like, leaning all weird and got freaking
Their weight balance is off a little bit. You need to do something to keep them from flipping over, huh?
Mobius is like, get a drink. In Monopoly, to win, hoard houses and never buy hotels. This will annoy everyone. Monopoly itself annoys everyone.
Yeah, Monopoly, there's an easy strat for it.
Yeah, you really don't have to even do any stats or strats in Monopoly. It's just annoying.
Really, the big strat is to get a certain what do you call it? Set, and then after you get a set, you're basically set.
Yeah, I hate that game. We don't even play that game around my house.
It's not worth playing anymore.
Because it's just like, that is the game you play if you just want to lose friends and piss your family off.
Why don't you try aggravation? That one really makes.
Now Risk, we play Risk, but we play the intellectually upgraded European Risk, where it's just Europe and you have castles that you have to defend, and there's marshals and admirals, and yeah, I like that Risk. But yeah. Now the game we played the other night, we played Mansions of Madness, and thanks to my character, we won and managed to escape the place before we all got murdered. And played Catan, and I've got the Cities and Knights expansion and Seafarers expansion. Yeah, a few flipped Monopoly board games. Yeah. And you always got to watch the guy being the banker, because you don't watch him, he's going to rob you. And then you're going to be like, you robbed me. I'm mad now. But now I just did black and a pretty heavy Zenithal. This is Victarion. He is the guy I've chosen to be the primary commander for my Greyjoy army. So I'm going to go ahead and paint him up so that he can replace one of the poor schmoes in the victory unit and, be the leader of the army. So he should be pretty easy, since all of the victory guys are wearing just a shit ton of armor. And armor is so easy to paint. You know what I mean? It's like, put the silver on, give it the wash, give it the dry brush. Dungeons of Mayhem is fun. Your son gets it, even though he can't even read yet. That's cool. That is very cool. We have the board game Dungeon, like the old, Dungeon board game that TSR made a copy of, and like everyone's made a copy of at one point or another. And we occasionally play that.
When I was young, we had a board game called Key to the Kingdom.
Really?
Yeah. That was a weird little thing. I don't think we ever really played it, though.
Huh.
It was just a weird thing we found at a yard sale one time and bought.
Huh.
It was cool though. The board flipped out, and you had to get to the very end without getting either squished by the board or killed by the boss or betrayed by other players.
So, yeah.
I can't remember much other than that. It was weird. Again, there was like a whirlpool that if you landed on would make the board flip in and out.
And you could get crushed.
Yes.
It sounds cool. I mean, in Dungeon, if you've never played it, it's like you pick your class and then you move into different rooms in a dungeon, and the rooms are all color coded. And so when you go into a room, say it's an orange room, you flip over the orange card and it'll tell you what monster's in there, what it does, and it'll give you the difficulty number to defeat it. And then you roll your dice, and if you beat the monster, it's destroyed and you get treasure, right? But if you don't beat the monster, you can choose, or no, wait, you can't choose. If you don't beat the monster, I think it kills you,
I
and
didn't
your
know
character
Pandemic did
loses
cards.
all of his treasure and everything, and you have to go back to the beginning. However, if you go in and you flip the monster card and you're like, damn, I don't think I can beat that monster, you do have the option to retreat. But then that monster stays in that room. So now everybody can see that there's that monster hanging out in that room waiting,
Waiting to
for
kill you.
somebody to go in there. So, yeah. And like in the newest version, which we got, they added some stuff. So you can play like the fighter, the mage, the thief, the cleric, and each class has like special abilities. And like, the mage can have fireballs and stuff like that. And, so you just basically, it's like D&D, but not pretty
Yeah.
much.
It's like a like a D&D if it was a board game.
Yeah, it's D&D if D&D were a board game, and basically that's it. If D&D were a board game, that's what it would be. It would be that. And you just, Clone Wars card game with Pandemic attached.
Yeah,
That's
I didn't know Pandemic did a card game. That's weird.
Oh man, I've got
though.
the original Pandemic, and then I've got the Call of Cthulhu Pandemic.
Oh, is that a card game? Because I thought that was the company that made it that he was talking about. Because there's a company that was called Pandemic, and they did a lot of like Star Wars video games.
He might be talking about the company Pandemic, because I'm talking about the actual game, the original one. It was you and your friends were trying to stop a disease from wiping out all humanity.
There was that. I forgot about that.
Well, they have one where you and your friends are trying to stop cultists from summoning the great old ones.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. We've owned that game for well over a year. We have beat it exactly 0 times. That game is not balanced.
Yeah.
It's like, as soon as you go to play it, you're going to lose. And I kind of think they did it on purpose. Like, Call of Cthulhu, you're going to lose, dumbasses.
Yep.
It's like, damn, man. I don't know why you got to be like that, but sometimes it be like that. Indeed it do. But, yeah. We, I think Mansions of Madness might be one of our family's favorite games, but of course it takes like 2 or 3 hours to play. So, that's an issue. You know what I mean? So then number 2 on the list for us for board games is definitely Splendor. So let me ask you a question, and people in the comments, you are allowed to answer as well. Have you played very many Dungeons and Dragons modules?
No. Usually I just play whatever homebrew we play.
Right. So, see, I was going to ask you, of all the modules you've played, what do you think would be your favorite?
Well, Pool of Radiance. Even
Well,
though technically it's a video game and not a module, but
it is a module.
technically there is a module. It was just the video game came out first.
Yeah, the video game came out in the 80s, and then the module, I'm not sure when it came out. And it's not called Pool of Radiance. It's called like Realms of Adventure or something.
Whatever. I'll still call it Pool of Radiance because that's what I know it as.
But it is identical to Pool of Radiance. It's like a 1-for-1. Like everything in Pool of Radiance is also in that module. I have it actually. So you don't even have enough experience with modules to really know if you would like another module more than that, unfortunately.
Yeah, the only other module I played was a 5th edition one that wasn't very good.
Was it the Mines of Phandelver or something like that?
Yeah, that one.
You know, a lot of people love that adventure.
I thought that was a little too basic.
Well, I mean, you know.
I mean, it was for beginners, I guess, but I felt like it could have been done better.
Right. If you are in chat and there's a favorite D&D module that you have, go ahead and throw it up there, and I will opine upon it. Realms of Adventure, I love, and I've ran, but every time I've ran it, I've lied to the players about what it was. Like, I didn't tell them the name of the city or anything like that, really, or I changed the name of the city, or I would print out the map, and then you know how every part of the city squares, right?
Yeah.
I would print the map out and then cut the square parts out and then reorder them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then because you can do that for the city, not the castle so much.
No.
But, and you know, you got the river, right? But everything is a square. So you just cut them out and move them however you want.
Especially in the older version. Now the newer versions, they kind of de-squarified the city.
Yeah, I'm talking about, I printed out the actual Pool of Radiance video game map.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I mean, in like later versions, I guess maybe it was in the. I don't know if it was in the module where they changed it slightly to kind of just de-squarify things, but they did change it a little bit.
What happened is a lot of online artists got their hands on that map and basically were like, I can do this shit better, and did.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now my favorite adventure of all time is pretty basic bitch, and that is B2 Keep on the Borderland.
It does look like a lot better. Is that a starter one, or is that like a more?
That was the starter adventure for basic D&D levels 1, 2, 3. It was put in Holmes Basic, Moldvay Basic, and Metzer Basic.
See, I think I'd like that better because I mean I've heard enough in the on B2 to get an idea of what it would be like.
B2
it makes me wish I played it.
Is how you run it, because it can be it can be whatever you need it to be. I mean, no bullshit. B2 is a campaign. It like you
Fringe.
start out at the keep on the borderland, which they don't give you a name because they expect you. What's up, Manowar? Because you're expected as the DM to name the keep, and none of the NPCs in the keep have names. They have titles. So you have the Castilian, you have the guard sergeant, the tavern keeper, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole point of the adventure as a starting adventure is for you to name everybody in the keep. And then about a day's walk or so away from the keep is a secret hidden valley. Oh, the crazed hermit with his pet big cat. Yeah. And his dagger of venom. There's a like hidden canyon that's got tons of caves in it, and there's all kinds of monsters in the cave that are all kind of serving this evil priesthood. And so you could play B2 for months. You could play B2 for months, depending on Burn Slut, most cringe pick of all time. Burn Slut, obviously you're a lefty with purple hair. No one cares what you think. But anyway, getting back to like real stuff. Yeah, B2 Keep on the Borderland, you could play that for 6 months. I mean, it could just keep going because I said you had hair. And I said it was purple.
I have hair. It's like what?
Right? Yeah, the fake priest and his goons. Man, when you're in the dungeon and you have to fight the zombies and the whole group is like kind of weak, and all of a sudden the level 3 cleric and his couple of acolytes decide to betray you, that can be a game over moment right there, right? And all the best treasure really is owned by people in the keep. So, you know, if you've got like a neutral thief, he could creep around and try and rob people. But yeah, it's just, in my opinion, probably the best, and not just because Gary Gygax wrote it. It's just like, it's just the best starting module, because if you actually read it and you've got, you know, the brains God gave a pumpkin, you can run that adventure and everyone's going to like it, you know, like, and like Professor Dungeon Master says, I've ran B2 like, I don't know, 14 times. And every time I've ran it, of those 14 times, the players never caught on they were playing B2. Because
that's always the best.
Just changed the names of stuff, right? And then when you get to the Caves of Chaos, you can just change what monsters are in the Caves of Chaos.
Hey James, has your party ever gotten so out of control that you had to Apocalypse Stone them?
What do you mean? Like players acting like assholes?
No, that they got so powerful and just like too much stuff that they couldn't be beat by normal modules, so you had to use the module, the Apocalypse Stone.
No.
Okay.
No, my people in my party. Here's the thing: if I'm running OSC Advanced or AD&D or something like that, as we all know from the story of the the Acts of the Dwarven Kings or whatever, I am not under any circumstances
going
to allow a player to have something that would unbalance the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so Against the Giants, great adventure. Cult of the Reptile God, that's a good one. I like it. Bonehill's okay. Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, that trilogy is really good. And Deadly. The third module in that, when you end up having to fight like 100 freaking Sahagin, or let's be honest, they're just deep ones from Lovecraft. Yeah, that is some messed up shit right there.
I've seen messed up stuff, but that's mainly because of the Apocalypse Zone.
Well, in that one, it's like, I hope you have at least 1 or 2 mages that have some AoE spells. Long hair freaky people need not apply. Damn, now you sound like a song. No, I don't mind long hair or freaky people, but if the Trump was right hat and the American flag offends you, you're hanging out at the wrong place, bro.
Maybe he just doesn't like the anime character.
I don't even recognize the anime character. And I usually, like, if we were on X, I'd be making fun of you so hard right about now for having an anime character as your profile pic.
Oh, well.
Because usually, like, when you go to X or Twitter, whatever we're calling it today, if they have a anime character in their profile pic, it's usually like, ignore anything they say. They're idiots. Or if they have a 18 plus or a whole list of mental illnesses and shit, or their pronouns, it's like immediate ignore, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, these are not serious, real people, you know? But, yeah. See, the thing with Twitch, who for some reason they've not banned me, I don't know why, is most of the people on Twitch are freaking commies, you know?
Well, there's only 2 things on Twitch anymore. Commie 2, it's commie stuff or softcore porn.
Yeah, BreadTube or freaking softcore porn. And so, like, I don't want to guess, and assuming is a thing, but our homeboy that joined us here, where we are talking about Dungeons and Dragons and painting miniatures, having purple hair in 97 was okay. As a matter of fact, if a chick had purple hair back in 97, it meant she was really cool and you would have a lot of fun hanging out with her. In 2025, having purple hair, that's a warning. Yeah, avoid at all costs.
That's a red flag.
That's a huge red flag. And it's because the people who think they're punk aren't punk.
No,
you know, they're not punk at all. But to get back to the rant on Twitter, yeah, you've got like Hassan Piker and that freaking, I could say horrible things about him, but Valsh. I mean, those guys are retards. And yet, somehow they have collected thousands of followers who listen to their retardation. No, I didn't change. And I hope the 97 girl didn't change either. You guys changed. Because lefties never invent anything. They infest things.
Yeah.
In 97, purple hair girl was probably hanging out at a goth club where I would be and listening to what's it called? You know, The Cure, Sisters of Mercy, shit like that. And she wasn't a feminist. She wasn't a big fatso, angry bitch. She was like a part, down to party, listen to some Ramones, whatever, right? Who is you guys? The left. You crazy fucking leftists. You are fat. I am. I weigh 225 pounds. I am, according to what I should weigh for my height, 40 pounds overweight. Now, I used to be 300 pounds, but I worked my ass off to lose that weight. And I'm still working to lose weight. How can you talk shit about them? Very easily. Very easily. I'm not fat, you are. Well, that's what you say. Okay. But yeah, I can talk shit about them super easy. You just seen me do it. It was so easy, it was almost not even an inconvenience.
Barely
An inconvenience. You know, I've been on freaking YouTube and seen these people. I know what they look like. The difference is you say, don't make shit up. I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, this is a David Peckman style of argumentation
Right.
here.
Pac-Man, who's always getting humiliated and ran off.
Yeah.
Just because I am somewhat overweight, much less than I used to be, because like I said, I lost 80 pounds, does not mean I cannot comment on the crazy fat supremacist, purple haired maniacs that are always running their mouth on Twitch or whatever.
And here's the thing, I may be fat, but that doesn't mean I don't know what it is. In fact, I know a lot about what it is. I'll call myself fat. I'll call other people
Right.
fat.
I mean, as long as you're aware that you're fat and you're not trying to tell people, you know what, being fat's okay. You know what? No, it's not okay. We should endeavor not to be fat. And the truth is, I can see you, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. I mean, you have proven nothing. Good. Congratulations, homie. Live in your world. But yeah, if you've got B2, because of the way the module is, I have worked on myself. I've lost 80 pounds in a year. So stop being boring. Or to quote a really good friend of mine, after you're done with the conversation you're having, if I end up blocking you or you just go away, what is your plan then? Like, what is your plan then? You are more than 1 year old. Yes, sir. Before I got injured and gained a bunch of weight, yeah, I was jacked. But you know what? When you get severely injured and break your neck and they have to put metal in it and all that kind of stuff, sometimes you lay around on the couch and feel sorry for yourself and you gain a shit ton of weight, which is what happened to me.
I don't think James is getting offended here.
No, I'm not offended.
In fact, I'm just laughing at this. This is funny.
Ban me your only ver. No, I'm telling you that if you can't take part in the conversation instead of
I don't
talking
even know what
shit,
that means either.
then why are you here? Because it's going to end one of two ways. Actually, it's going to end one way. I will ban you. But if you stop being a jackass and start taking part of the conversation we're having, then you're made in the shade with lemonade, right? Like, do you play D&D at all? Cry harder, snowflake. See, that's what's so crazy about the leftists. They can't even invent insults. They just try to steal other people's insults
and use it in the most
and then
nonsensical
can't even
way.
use it right.
Yeah, they can't even use it right.
His PFP is cringe? No, it's not cringe. It's an American flag and a Trump was right about everything hat. So explain to me why who invented snowflake? The right to describe leftists. Like everything, the left takes things and tries to pretend like, I don't know what they try to pretend like. It's a MAGA hat. It doesn't. I think so. MAGA is awesome.
MAGA hat, yes.
I voted MAGA.
Yeah.
Guess what? The majority of our country voted MAGA.
Yes.
You're in the minority. Your bullshit that you think people wanted, guess what? It turns out you were wrong. No one wants it.
Trump won the popular vote and all the swing states.
He won the electoral vote. I mean, so I'm sorry that your ass hurt that your communist candidate couldn't win anything, not even one state, except I think she might have won Vermont. But it's the way it is. So, you know, how we had to sit and put up with your bullshit, even though, let's be honest, we all know you stole that last election. Now you get to deal with the fact that you lost. And you lost because you're so fucking weird.
Because Trump was right.
Trump was right, though. I said it was a Trump was right. Well, I can't actually read those small letters. Can you?
It says "Make America Great Again."
Oh, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, but now you're just being pedantic, and that's not an argument.
Very pedantic.
You know, trying to be like, well, you said it was this. I mean, that's not an argument.
Let's just ignore him. He's boring me now.
Yeah. I'm going to give you one more chance, Burn Sluts. Do you want to talk about role-playing games or painting miniatures? I am currently painting the commander for my House Greyjoy Victory Ship crew members. If you want to talk about that stuff, cool. But you got to be cool, man. Like I said, if I were on Twitter, yes, I'd probably be talking shit about people with anime characters in their whatever. But Leth, I know Leth. And so I'm not going to talk shit about him because this ain't the place. Game of Thrones. Yes, there's a Game of Thrones war game. And in that game, you buy starter sets. Each house, like this is the Greyjoy starter set box. Each house has its own starter set. You don't have to paint them, but you can. And then you fight battles. Making a sandwich, man. Yeah, I got garlic bread waiting for me in the kitchen. My wife made garlic bread. Yum, yum. But Warhammer sucks, dude. As a matter of fact, if you look at my videos, I explain why Age of or A Song of Ice and Fire is a better game. That last book will probably never be out. Let's be honest. But I mean,
and even if it does, it doesn't mean it's going to be good. I mean,
yeah, I'm not even an R.R. Martin fan, dude. I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand like the crowd you've fallen in with. Like I've got so many live streams where I've just talked nothing but shit about R.R. Martin. You know, called him a freaking slacker, a loser, said how he can't write, how the reason he's having a hard time finishing his book is because he killed Ned Stark right off the bat. And Ned Stark's the only one who knows who Jon Snow is. So that was pretty much, you know, as a writer, the stupidest move he could make. But I mean, I'm a Tolkien guy if we're going to talk about books. Do not understand me. I'm easy to understand. I am a gamer nerd. I'm in my 50s. I'm a retiree from the fire department. And before that, I was in the Army and I served in Iraq. So on top of that, I am Russian Orthodox and extremely conservative in my political views. So now you know everything you could ever need to know about me. Because that's basically about it, you know, as far as for what you might want to know. So, yeah. Now
and I'm just a crazy nerd from the 90s.
Yeah, you're the baby. You're from the 90s. I'm from the 70s. We also talk a lot BattleTech here because we love BattleTech. But anyway, getting on. ignoring the Twitch BS.
Yeah, another one of those.
Cheap
What do you call it?
viewers. Oh man.
You're getting those again.
Well, I mean, that means somebody must notice the channel if they're trying to get me to
Spam
spam
bot, yeah.
bot me. And
Yeah, BattleTech guy here is fun. He's more of a BattleTech guy. I haven't really played many war games.
right. Whereas I've been playing Battletech since like, I don't know, the 80s. Yeah, definitely 86, 87, somewhere in there. Because I played Battletech before I even joined the Army. And I know when I joined the Army for sure. But I played D&D first because my mother bought me the box set. Because, you know, I got a really cool mom. And she was like, I'm going to buy you the basic box set of D&D. And I was like, Mom, you're the coolest. Even though I didn't know what it was when she bought it. But we figured it out.
Hey, sometimes,
sometimes
you get something really weird that's also fun.
We figured it out. Well, the thing is my mom, like I've said before, she insisted that we read like a lot. Like
That's
in addition to
too.
school, she would always like give us like homework.
I wish I had. I wish there were better. Like, people tried to get me on that Harry Potter stuff, and I didn't like Harry Potter. So I just didn't like reading because of that. Nobody gave me any good
familiar
books,
with Harry Potter because I have 2 daughters. So, you know, and they're just that now they're in their, you know, 29, 30, whatever. But, you know,
well, that's not new there, Jose. Facebook with all the AI bots with profiles. Yeah, that's
yeah. I don't even. It's like the only time I go on Facebook is to use Messenger to harass my brother, and when that don't work, then I call him directly. But I like to go on Messenger first and send him memes and shit. That's like I go on Facebook and just post offensive memes, and they never ban me though. Battletech is fun. I agree. But are you talking which Battletech? Are you talking miniature game or one of the many, many, many computer games? I mean, I'm going to agree either way or either way if we're going to talk like fancy.
Mini game.
Yeah. Awesome. What's your favorite mech? We were actually talking about that before you showed up, and we got distracted. But yeah, what's your favorite mech, Burnslot? And I'm not testing you. I'm honestly curious. If you know a lot about Battletech, you'll think my favorite mech is dumb because it is so. A lot of people say it's just super weak.
I got a favorite mech. It's just not a Battletech mech.
What is it, like a Gundam mech?
Yeah, I really like the Zaku's.
See, I don't know enough about Gundam to know what that is.
The Zaku 2 was the enemy, basic enemy Gundam that you'll see against the original Gundam.
Are you talking like Gundam 88 or whatever?
No, this was the old school Gundam before 80. I think before 88. Basically, the first Gundam story. You know how I think it's usually about a kid who gets the main Gundam and then he gets to go on a beast mode rampage because he's in like this super high tech thing while everybody else is using more run of the mill mechs.
Only played with your friends. Yeah, that's okay. So that means you probably played 30-25 type mechs. I don't know. Like maybe something like this looks familiar to you. That's a Marauder. Also a Zentradi Commander battle pod, but let's not get into that.
Mad Cat thing with rockets.
Yeah, Mad Cat, it looks just like this almost, except it's got big ass rocket pods on the side. But you know how like Baltec's divided into eras? I only play the first era, which doesn't have any clan stuff. But a lot of the guys that hang out on this channel love the clan stuff. They're all about it. It's like, their thing.
Here, James, I'll show you, because you might have seen this if you've seen the old school Gundam.
The Bowmaster's a decent brawler mech for sure. I mean, it only gets nastier the closer it gets to you. Okay, let me go over here and look at what Leth is sending me. Yeah, it's the Mad Cat is a very popular mech because I recognize that. I saw model kits for that at Hobby Lobby when we went to Hobby Lobby the day after Christmas.
I used to have a model for the Gundam, but never that.
Yeah, they were having like a huge sale there, and my wife, every year after Heterodox Christmas, she goes to Hobby Lobby to buy all the wrapping paper and stuff because it's like 50% off. Pop in just in time for Baltec talk. Well, we don't have to talk Baltec. I was just trying to connect with Burn Slots on some common ground so that we wouldn't fight about stuff that in the end doesn't really matter. It's not really worth fighting over. Bias towards the Stalker. The Stalker is a monster. What is the rocket behind me? This thing? This is a 3D printed starship, and each level comes apart so that you can move miniatures around in it. Yeah, I haven't finished painting it yet, but it's because this thing is working with the assumption that there's no artificial gravity. So how you would generate gravity, like in the Expanse, basically, is through acceleration or deceleration. And that's how this thing is. So like if I pop a section off, you might see crew quarters or the mechanics shop, or, down here and all this, that's engineering. These aren't attached to it. They're weapon pods that you can or can't attach to it depending. That carry point defense guns and stuff like that. But yeah, 3025, the Stalker is a beast. And then if you throw a bunch of freaking double heat sinks on it, forget about it. I mean, just give it up. You know what I'm saying? Which is what I don't do. I play the basic model, but there's a couple of different models of that thing. So you don't have to play just the basic model. You can play the some of the house variants and whatever, if you've got the clan books or not clan books, house books, Oh, the new resculpt is really good. I've got some of the original Raupartha ones that look like eggs, just like it's just an egg on two legs. And it's just like, what is this? But, for the time, it was the Stalker. But the new one looks really good. And again, the thing with the Stalker is deadly at all ranges. Like if you try to stay far away from it, it's just going to.
It's going to what? Your audio went out, I think.
Yeah, it happens. like my computer freaks out and turns the mic out. But it'll and then the Stalker is one of those mechs that you just walk towards your enemy, and the closer you get, the more damage you do. Because you start out with LRMs, and then you switch over to large lasers, and then you swap over to medium lasers, and it's got everything. But yeah, Stalker, great 30-25 mech. And a mech that's so common, it's like every house has them. Every house. Yeah, the King Crab, the new sculpt looks good, but I'm not a King Crab fan because of the fact that it's only got basically a couple of LRMs to do stuff until it closes range. And a smart opponent, like in an Atlas or any assault mech, really, can just stay back and eat it alive. You know, all you got to do is not let it get close. And it's so slow that it's not really going to ever get close. So, you know, it's a victim of its own weapon layout. I mean, yeah, getting shot by 2 AC-20s would suck, but, you know.
You have to get in range, and if you can't, well...
Right, you got to get in range. Meanwhile, if you're dealing with a Atlas, as long as he keeps you out of that AC-20 range, he's going to eat you up with the LRMs and the freaking large lasers and everything like that. So, you know, it's not going to be a good time for you, is just basically what I'm saying. But it is a cool looking mech. And the small crab, the one the Star League's so famous for, that's a good mech. I mean, medium laser, 2 large lasers, decent armor. That's a good mech. That is a good mech that I would be happy to have on my team any day of the week. The original crab. And it's tough too. Yeah, you got to hide. But the problem, Jose, is that depending, let's say you hide your King Crab, and we'll assume we're talking, you know, lance on lance or something. You could hide your King Crab. Your opponent could send a light mech to get line of sight on you, and then their heavy mech could indirect fire LRMs at you all day. And you can't even attack the light mech because it's moving so fast and it's so far away that the penalty to hit would be so great that your chances of hitting would just be basically non-existent. So remember, when you're playing Battletech, it's a team thing. Like in my force, every single mech in my force has LRMs, except for the light mech. So if my opponent wants to play games, I will stand behind a hill and let my light mech just scout him out. And then my Griffin's got a LRM 10. My Thunderbolt's got like an LRM 15. And my Orion's got an LRM 20. So
have fun.
Yeah. Now I get a penalty to hit, obviously, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Yeah, yeah. You're stationary, which makes you easier to hit. I mean, and even if you're not powered up, if a light mech gets line of sight on you, there's a chance they could see you. And if they do, then it's just basically tra-la-la-la-la, you're in trouble. Now, the good news, the Crab Mech has a ton of armor, but, you know. But then again, honestly, guys, I am not a huge fan of assault mechs at all anyway. I think the only assault mech I've played in years has been an Awesome, which does earn its name. And I guess if I ever decided to go heavy into the points, I would maybe field a Stalker. But I mean, the Awesome at 80 tons, being able to fire all those PPCs. Yeah, that's a good mech. That's a mech that's definitely going to catch your opponent in the giblies. All you got to do is put it somewhere where it's got a good line of sight and let it, you know, 2-3 fire those freaking PPCs until everything's dead. Yeah, heavy is where it's at for me. Awesome is awesome. That's a fact. The 9K, the 8K, whichever one, they're all good. There's one that ditches a PPC for like LRMs, you know, but I like the SOC variant with just the 3 PPCs and 29 heat sinks. So you fire 3, which might overheat you, but the next turn you fire 2, which drops your heat. And your heat never gets high enough to actually matter that much anyway. So just overall, it's just, I mean, it is what it is. It's just a mech that is designed to stomp across the battlefield. Like the Stalker, it is designed to slowly cross the battlefield and just melt anything it encounters. And I dig that. I dig that a lot. But of course, as I've already said, my favorite mech in the world will always be the Griffin. That's my favorite mech, and no matter what tonnage my brother and I have ever played, or the local game store ever allowed for a tournament, or BV or anything, I always take a Griffin 3R, like always, or 3N. It's just, it's kind of my calling card for BattleTech. You know what I mean?
It's favorite.
Yeah.
Kind of like me with the fleet troopers and the shotguns.
Yep. I'm going to have them. You know, if you sit down at the table to play BattleTech against me, you are going to see a Griffin, at least one. You know, if I can find a way to work 2 Griffins in, you're gonna see 2. Yeah, I've got BV2 also because I've got the heavy metal program, so I can do either. I can go tonnage, BV1, BV2. But I like the Griffin, and I like the Thunderbolt because 30-25, if you don't like the Thunderbolt, I don't even know what you're doing with your life. I mean, that mech is just like the toughest 65 tons in the game. You know what I mean? It's a 65-ton mech that a lot of times can straight up own heavier mechs one-on-one. I mean, just a monster, just a beast. And then I am very partial to the Orion, which is a weird-ass looking mech because it's so asymmetrical. But, I mean, it's got AC-10. It's got a shit ton of lasers or plasma guns, depending. It's got LRMs and SRMs. I mean, it's got anything you need whenever you need it. It's got it. The Thunder Chicken. Yeah, I prefer to call it the T-Bolt. The T-Bolt 5S. Yeah, or 3S. That's a good one. And then I will always have a light mech in the Lance. And honestly, the only thing the light mech has to do is weigh small enough to fit in the lance and be fast as shit. That I don't even care. Like if the light mech doesn't even have weapons on it, I'm okay with that. Wouldn't even matter. Because it's not its job. Its job is not to fight. Its job is to spot enemy mechs that are trying to hide so that I can drop some of the good stuff on them. Oh, by the way, Bear GM, right? He's kind of got the handle of Bear online, but Bear is what my wife calls me. And this was a Christmas gift, which is a bear eating a bunch of garden gnomes for some reason. Like I have a sign around here and it says, "Don't wake the bear." Because apparently I like to grumble and growl and carry on when she wakes me up. And then our pup's name is Bear too. So there's 3 bears. At home during the engagement, hunchbacks. See, hunchbacks are a thing because if your opponent puts a hunchback on the table, you have to kill it. The good news is you probably will before it gets to you. Because it's got to cross that battlefield. It's not got the greatest armor for 50 tons. What's up? How you doing, Doc?
Guys?
But you do have to kill a hunchback, because if you don't kill that hunchback and you let it get close to you, then it's going to AC 20. And no matter who you are, nobody likes that.
Yeah, the hunchback is one of my favorite mechs. It's just a nasty little bruiser of a mech.
Well, if you're a good pilot and the terrain is on your side, like you could run up on somebody. You just got to use the terrain to close distance.
Yeah, they're not bad at throwing hands either.
Yeah, I mean they can, and they do got medium lasers for when all else fails. But if you're playing on a relatively open field against anyone with like LRMs and PPCs, they're going to target that hunchback. That's going to be like priority one. Get rid of that shit.
AC 20. Or even worse, have you seen the one with like 8 medium lasers on it? That's
the sway back
ones too.
Yep, they call it the sway back. And then there's another option. I forget which house fields it. It's got AC 10. But then it like ups the armor and adds like large lasers. And
yeah, that's not a hunchback.
Yeah, that's also called a sway back.
You got to be rocking the bazooka or equivalent to be a proper hunchback.
Right. I don't disagree with that. If you're going to be a hunchback, be a hunchback. But some people like the sway backs. They feel like they're more tactically whatever.
Now, if you're driving a hunchback, tactics should never enter into your mind. You're a bruiser thug. you are there to smack the crap out of things.
Stay out of line of sight until you're close enough to let them eat that AC 20. And then there you go. That is all the tactics. Warhammer, find partial cover. Yeah. Hungar loves the Warhammer.
Warhammer is good, solid mech.
I nickname it the Whammer. And I generally always kill it. And it could be a tonnage thing because a Warhammer, as good as it is or solid as it is, cannot take on an Orion in a fight. The Warhammer's got the PPCs, but the Orion has the AC-10, the LRM-20s, the 2 large lasers, and more armor. So, and you just run up on it and then beat it to death.
I'm a big fan of the Thunderbolt. It's probably my favorite.
I was just talking about that. The T-Bolt. Probably one of the best mechs in the game. The Thunderbolt always punches above its weight. There's never reason, if you have the points, not to take a Thunderbolt. Like, never reason not to take a Thunderbolt. But yeah, you got to protect the legs on that because that's one of the negatives of the not just the Warhammer, the Marauder, the original Marauder. The leg armor is garbage, man. It's like
I love
know.
certain Marauders.
Yeah,
Some
I'm
are
talking the
kinda
stock
meh.
model.
Yeah, the stock model doesn't do a lot for me. I like it when they replace the PPCs with large lasers.
That's the
I think
Merrick model.
you're better off with that, or maybe
Yeah.
one PPC on the top instead of the ammo gun.
Well, the Merrick model is 2 large lasers, 2 medium lasers, and an AC5.
Yeah, AC5. I don't see the
And
point
then
of
just a
AC5.
shit ton of additional heat sinks and armor
Yeah, if you're
because
gonna
you
go
got the
auto
tonnage to
cannon,
do it.
if you're gonna go auto cannon, I'd say at least a 10.
I think the AC5 is okay for harassing, but you're right. It's kind of like, all right, I mean, the good thing is it only generates 1 heat when you fire it. So, I mean, that's good, you know. But on the Merrick version, it's got enough heat sinks that you can fire both of those PPCs and be all like, I'm happy, you know. Whereas on the basic version, you fire both of those PPCs and you're like already overheated,
Yeah.
you know.
And then there's the Shadowhawk, which is one of the coolest looking mechs and one of the worst mechs.
Yep.
It's got nothing going for it, at least stock model. If you like custom, you can make something nice out of it if you do custom, but you got to basically strip everything out of it.
Well, the thing is, the Shadowhawk, the Wolverine, and the Griffin all come from an anime called Dougram, Fang of the Sun. And the Shadowhawk was the main character of the show. And it could like kill everything. And the Griffin was like the horde mech that the bad guys would send in, and the Dougram could just kill them. And then in Battletech, somehow
They got flipped.
something happened because the Shadowhawk.
Maybe somebody
like,
just didn't like the Shadowhawk.
Well, the problem with the Shadowhawk is
It's
it brings
built of
nothing to the
compromise.
table. There's like, okay, let's say you can take a 55-ton mech. Any 55-ton mech is better than it. Now, Hungar will play Shadowhawks just because he likes them, and he'll play Wolverines just because he likes them, kind of like me with the Griffin. But the problem is the Shadowhawk against a Griffin, you're going to get 8 alive. And against a Wolverine, that Wolverine's going to close on you and just beat you to death. Because the Wolverine's just a brawler. It's just full of medium lasers and SRMs. And the
Crab
Shadowhawk
is a nice
just
55 tonner.
has nothing.
Is it 55 or a 50, the Crab?
It's 55.
Okay. Yeah, Crab's a good little mech.
Oh, no, the Crab's a 50.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. And it is a good little mech. For 50 tons, you got 2 large lasers, a medium laser, decent armor, decent heat. I mean,
And
what else?
your pilot's protected, right? In the Crab, he's harder to hit.
I think that's an optional rule. Like how the Javelin got a penalty to jump because it was so freaking unbalanced.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. What, like quirk things.
Yeah. But, the basic Crab is a decent 50-tonner. If your game is to kind of hang out and, lob large lasers at your opponent, yeah, it's perfectly great. But yeah, Shadowhawk, I don't know. I would have to log on my heavy metal program because it has all of the variants that all of the houses ever made for it.
Yeah, there's probably a good variant of
Surely
it.
there's got to be one of
Because
them that you
it's
wouldn't
a
be embarrassed.
chassis. It's just everything is too little. It's just like pure compromise, the Shadowhawk. It's like trying to even out across.
Yeah, at long range, you got an AC5. Yay. And then at short range, you've got like an SRM4. Yay! It's like, it's like this mech. What is it supposed to do? It's not a sniper mech because it's got an AC-5. So if it tries to outsnipe the Griffin, which has a PPC and an LRM 10 or 15, depending, it's going to get wrecked. And it can outbrawl a Wolverine because the Wolverine just gets nastier the closer it gets and has more armor. And it's like the Shadowhawk is like the redheaded stepchild of Battletech. It's like, it looks so cool though. The miniature went standing there and it's got that over the shoulder AC-5 and I mean, it looks really cool, but then it's like no one knows what in the hell it's for. It's like, damn it, we've been ripped off.
Catapult is a fine mech. The dual PPC catapult in particular is a lot of fun.
Oh, the K variant, the Curita variant, yeah. Basically, I weigh 5 tons less than a Marauder, but I've got the same weapons and better heat sinks than the stock Marauder, so I can fire both of those PPCs every round. Yeah. Catapult K. And then you've got the one variant of catapults that has no self-defense weapons at all, but it has 2 LRM 20s and a shit ton of ammo. So it's just like, hide me behind a hill somewhere and indirect fire all day. 40 LRMs at a time.
Yeah, if you're running a missile boat, your whole purpose in life is not to let anyone get near you.
Yeah. You're going to be in the corner of the map somewhere behind a bunch of trees, behind like level 3 terrain.
Some of the archers can throw down at reasonable range, but
the basic archer is a mech that gets more dangerous the closer it gets. Because at range, it starts out with LRM 15s. And then when it gets close to you, it's got like a shit ton of medium lasers. At which point, it's going to just punch you in the head and light you up with all those turret-mounted medium lasers or torso mount. And you're not going to like it because getting punched by a 75-ton mech is not, that's no bueno, or kicked. I mean, if it kicks you, that's 14 points of damage if it hits a leg. I mean, a lot of mechs can't take 14 points. And heaven help you, it manages to run up on a light mech and kick it.
no.
That's pretty much the end of the light mech right there. It's gone.
Football.
Yeah. It's just going to be like, boom. Your leg's gone. Your right torso's gone. Your center torso's gone. You're done. So yeah, good mech. I am getting ready to finish up the easiest miniatures I've ever painted in my life. Yeah, they were molded in black plastic, so I just touched up a couple places where I used green stuff on them. And I'm just going to give them a nice coat of hard coat, which is a gloss varnish. And that way they'll look slimy and wet. And they'll be done. I mean, I did paint the base they're standing on like a dry brushed metallic. But this is for the cooperative alien war game. It's like you and your friends versus it's basically like Gene Stiller, or what was it called?
Space Hulk.
It's like Space Hulk, but you play Colonial Marines versus aliens. And it has the named Colonial Marine, so you can play Hudson or Hicks.
That's kind of funny because the Gene Stillers are a ripoff of the Alien, and that's like kind of a ripoff of the game they used the ripoff in.
Well, BattleTech is a straight up ripoff of Japanese anime.
Yeah, BattleTech is just a giant pile of plagiarism. across the board.
And the guy who
everything's
made it
something else.
had studied in Japan and watched anime and didn't know that he was watching separate episodes of
Different animes. Just like,
Yeah, he thought that Robotech, Dougram, Gundam, all of those things were one series. He didn't know that there's totally a difference between Dougram and Robotech. That's why the mechs were the way they were. And then Lucas threatened to sue him because the first edition was called Battle Droids.
Battle Droids.
And Lucas was like, I own droids, bitch. So he's like,
there is
oh,
a
okay.
little game. I might even have it somewhere. It's actually just called Droids, and it's kind of set up as an RPG, but really it's more of a tactical game. And basically, it's just all this stuff for building robots piece by piece. And the whole thing is there was a big war. All the humans are dead, but there's all these like war bots just walking around like with nothing to do but kill each other. And then you just like scavenge parts, and, like modify yourself.
Hey, that reminds me of the Flight of the Conchords song. The humans are dead. The humans are dead. Have you ever heard that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Flight of the Conchords. They're dressed up as robots, and the song is The Humans Are Dead. We poison their asses with poisonous gases. The humans are dead. And the other guy's like, that's right, they are dead. The humans are dead. I poked that one with a stick. He was dead. You know, and it's like, you know. And they talk about we had to kill them so that we could be free. And there's like a slow part in the song where there's like, but can't we live at peace with the humans? Blah, blah, blah. And that says no, because they are dead. It's like, all right. They're the second most popular comedy band from New Zealand. And the first most popular comedy band from New Zealand is a band that is a tribute band to them. So it's like, wow, there's a band that literally lives by copying you, and they're more popular than you. But anyway, I think that's a joke. The guy in Moana that sang the crab song, he's a member of that band.
Oh, cool.
I forget his name, but he's a New Zealander. And he was Tamatoa, the giant crab.
Yeah.
What's hilarious is the guy who played Wash in Firefly Serenity
Yeah.
played the chicken. And it's like, they hired a guy to play the chicken? Okay. I mean, you know. And not just like any guy, but a guy that actually has some good movies behind him. Like, how much did they pay that guy to play that chicken? Hey. You know, I mean, how many millions of dollars did he get paid to cluck every now and then? He probably could call his freaking part in. You know, just pick up the phone and be like, record this. You know, but yeah, that's what they did for Moana. Which is probably my favorite rock movie ever made.
Wait, which one?
Moana.
Yeah. The Rock plays Maui.
Does he sing those parts?
Yeah, that's him singing.
Oh.
Well, I guess that's pretty good. I mean, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, when he's doing the whole, so what can I say except you're welcome,
You're welcome.
for the sun and the rain. Yeah, that's
He
The
did
Rock.
pretty good on that.
Yeah. Yeah, he did pretty good. And his whole character arc was that he really, really loved humanity. And that's why he was always doing all the stupid shit, because he was trying to earn humanity's favor. because his parents had disowned him and chucked him into the ocean. You know?
Yeah, the crab song was very Bowie-like, I thought.
It does sound like David Bowie. That is the first thing I said the first time I ever heard it. You know what I mean? They're like, your grandma said what? Well, let me tell you something. I ate my grandma. She was huge. You know, like they finally get away from it, and he's like, well, at least did you like the song?
Yeah.
Did you at least like the song?
Yeah.
It's going to be on SoundCloud soon.
He's just sitting there. Yeah, that's probably the only Disney movie that I watch.
It's probably one of the better recent
Yeah.
ish.
I want to be shiny.
I'm not a princess. You're on a quest. You're by yourself. Animal companion. You're a princess.
Yeah, Moana is I think probably the best Disney princess of them all. Like, she's not a big pain in the ass. She's not super disrespectful to her dad or anything like that. She really doesn't do anything stupid. She gets called to action to save her people. And then her and her retarded chicken travel across the ocean until they finally run into Maui. And then they force Maui to help them save everyone. I mean, if you think about it, that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
But what about
Ariel?
Mulan?
Ariel is a total disrespectful bitch
Yeah, she's horrible.
who refuses to listen to her dad, even though he's like, don't go near the sea witch. And then trades her voice and everything else to try and get a man. Get out of here, Ariel. What's wrong with you? It's like,
But come on, Mulan.
Mulan was awesome. Again,
Original Mulan.
yeah, the cartoon, not the crazy live action. Mulan only did what she did because she had to do it. Because if she didn't do it, her dad would die. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. He would die. So she did what she had to do. Now, why she just didn't go home when the guy was like, you suck, go home. But it's a good thing she didn't, I guess. But
Yeah, if she didn't, then
it
the
makes
Emperor would have
me
been dead.
wonder, like, if her dad had went and he'd tried to do drills but couldn't, would the guy have just been like, yeah, you're too old, you suck, go home?
Probably.
And then you wouldn't have needed to even worry about Mulan doing anything because, you know?
I think I love with the live action movie, Disney like gave special thanks to the like Chinese department that's like committing the genocide.
Yeah. Yeah, they filmed the movie like 10 miles away from where they got the Uyghurs camped.
Yeah, it's my fault. And special thanks to the SS. Yeah.
You know, right?
Bunch of
I'll tell you
guys.
what. I'll tell you what. I don't know if you guys will want to believe it or not, but Arlington Cemetery, right? There is an SS soldier buried in Arlington Cemetery.
The Norwegian dude?
Finnish, but yes.
But yeah, I know
Yeah,
exactly
Finnish.
who he was
Larry
also a
Thorne.
U.S. soldier, though. He was also a U.S. soldier.
Larry
He's
Thorne.
also a U.S. soldier.
Yep. Because he started out fighting for the Finns, where he won basically every medal you could. Then, when the Finns surrendered, he joined the SS so he could fight the Russians on the Western Front. And then, when that didn't work out, he went back to Finland, where they put him in prison. But a lot of people were like, come on, man. So they let him out of prison,
Oh, man.
and he immigrated to America. And then when America went to war in Vietnam, he joined the army and become a member of the Green Berets. and then he died somewhere in Vietnam.
Yeah, he was in a
Well, you know what?
helicopter
He was a
crash or
badass,
something.
so
Yeah, well, you know what? You want to talk about a guy who just absolutely hated communism? That's the man right there.
yeah, right there.
He was like, I don't give a shit who I have to fight for as long as I get to kill commies while I'm doing it. You know, I'll fight for Finland, I'll fight for Germany, I'll fight for America, any country. As long as you're killing commies, I'm your boy. You know? It was like, okay. Movie of Mulan. Yeah, the problem is that the live action movie sucks, Jose.
Oh, did they do a live action of that?
They did, and
Yes.
it's terrible.
Yeah.
Like everything
But
that
what
made
is new?
Mulan awesome, they tuck away.
They did
Like
that with Aladdin.
Mulan's a girl boss. She was born special. She never has to learn anything. She's just better than everyone at everything all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Disney, you're missing the damn point. The point of Mulan was the story arc. How she started out weak and not knowing shit, and then become, you know, a competent soldier. And they take it all away. So there's no point where, you know, the commander's singing, let's get down to business and all that, because they don't need to. Well, if they made one in China, it might be pretty good, because one of my favorite movies is made in China. It's Hero.
That is
With
an
Jet
awesome
Li.
movie.
Yeah.
that was an
And what's
awesome
crazy
movie.
about it is how they show each of the parts in different colors. And then in the end, you find out the truth. And it's like, you know, the emperor says that, you know, Broken Sword would never have done that. He was far too honorable and, you know, this and that and the other. And he figures out what the plan is. But instead of doing that, Nameless lets himself be executed.
Yeah. And that was sick the way they do that. They like go over his shoulder. It's like the cloud of arrows come. Then you just like see his outline.
Yeah. Like he dies and it's like the whole door is covered in arrows except for his outline. It's like, oh my goodness. That guy caught like an arrow over every freaking inch of his body. Yeah, I'm talking about the Disney live action one, and it was bad, like all of their live action ones.
Yeah.
It's
They
like,
messed up with Aladdin. They messed up with Lion King. Why did they even do CGI Lion King is beyond me. Or the Beauty and the Beast. Oh god, that one was even worse than others.
the thing is, they should have known better than to even attempt to do Aladdin,
Yeah.
because they got freaking what's his name, the cup
Robin
that's
Williams?
always, you know, his wife's
you-
always sleeping.
Oh, you're
around.
talking about Will Smith as the genie, yeah.
Right. Will Smith is never going to be Robin Williams.
Yeah.
No.
So right off the bat, you're already screwed.
Yep.
You know, it's like that is a fight you don't need to fight because you've already lost. You know,
That's like putting up a toddler against Mike Tyson in his prime.
right? It's just not good, and him being all like, "We heard the princess was hot," and it's like, Genie would never say that. You know, why you gotta make it crude and whatever? Genie was said, we heard she was beautiful, a sight to see. And yet they just, anyway, Rogue One is probably the only good Star Wars movie Disney has made. Rogue One.
I don't even like it really.
I actually kind of liked it a lot. I would say Rogue One is better than Return of the Jedi.
I don't know.
Well, Return of the Jedi turned me off because of the Muppets.
Yeah, I did. I thought that was, and also the
Yeah.
Death Star again. It's like,
And the
come
Death
on.
Star again.
I mean, you could see some big giant empire thinking that would work once.
Well,
But
and here's the thing too. It's not like Emperor Palpatine's an idiot. Surely he had to know that instead of spending all that time and resources building Death Stars, build Death build Star Destroyers. Like how
Yeah.
many Star Destroyers could you build for one Death Star? Like thousands?
Or
And
just
then be
improve
like,
your,
okay, now try and take out this fleet of 1,000 Star Destroyers.
or
See how you like
improve the
that?
TIE fighters. Those would have probably helped a lot too.
Well, every Star Destroyer carries 72 TIE fighters
Yeah.
as standard loadout.
did you see
And that's not counting bombers.
the robot chicken where they had Emperor Palpatine like screaming at Darth Vader after the Death Star got blown up?
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Yeah.
Oh, build another one. That's your genius idea. I haven't finished paying for the first one yet. Who's going to
Yeah.
give me the money?
And the two guys are there, and he's like, hold on, I got to take this. Like, go for Papa Palpatine. Yeah. Oh, now he's crying. They're just making fun of Anakin so hard in that. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, it was like, why would you do that? I mean, it's just not even tactically a smart idea.
No, it also doesn't work to what the Empire wants to do in the first place, because if they're trying to suppress a population that doesn't really like them, what's one big super weapon that can't get anywhere going to do when everything wants to rebel against you?
Right.
Oh,
Thus-
yeah, you could probably scare a few to stay, but you know what? After a certain while, there's probably going to be people who want to blow that thing up.
And that's why you use all those resources and you just build a shit ton of Star Destroyers. And you know, if a world's acting up, you just post about 100 of them in orbit.
Actually, the Star Destroyers wouldn't even be better than the Venators for what they needed.
Well, yeah, but I'm not trying to get freaking picky here. I mean, if you want to
Yeah.
build a Venator for every however many Star Destroyers, go ahead. But
Like,
the point is, if you put 100 Star Destroyers above a world and they decided to just unload all of their weaponry at that planet, they would erase the life right off that planet.
Yeah,
I
they've
don't-
done that before.
Yeah, you
Right.
just-
In the universe.
You don't need
So-
super weapons. Just drop. Somebody starts giving you crap. Just show up in orbit. Drop a nuke on one of their cities. You done? No. Boom. You done? Okay, now you're done.
Right.
Or just do what Admiral Thrawn did, just like fill the atmosphere with a bunch of asteroids. Yeah, have fun.
Yeah. You use the projectors to. I love how you went from Baltech to Disney princesses. Well, I'm hoping one day Disney will do a Baltech thing and it'll have Natasha Kerensky in it so that she can become a Disney princess. But anyway, yeah. And they even changed Natasha Kerensky because in the original Black Widow book, her coolant vest is open and she's not wearing a shirt underneath. But then they had to reprint it and put a shirt on. This is like lame. It's not like you could see anything, just a little bit of side boob, Plus, since she was a clanner that was sent to infiltrate the inner sphere, clan society, they're like super promiscuous. You know what I mean? Because they don't have marriages or kids or anything like that. So they basically just sleep with everybody all the time, nonstop. They even, if I remember from the books, they assigned the different clan pilots into pods of like 6 to 12. And that's kind of like you sleep with all those people all the time. It's really weird. No one wants to be a free birth. Jen Urso or What's her name? Luke Skywalker's girlfriend would have been nice. But no.
Oh wait, no, Jade was his daughter, not his girlfriend. Who was Luke, the wife or girlfriend? I can't remember.
His wife was an Imperial agent.
Ah.
And she had red hair.
Yeah.
And then he had all of the kids. The twins were a boy and a girl, and then he had a boy.
Yep.
And of the twins, the boy ended up getting corrupted by a Sith holocron that he found on Yavin. And yeah. That was a good storyline, but
yeah.
but Automatic, hey, good to see you here. Yeah, BattleTech. We love BattleTech here.
I also did like the Thrawn trilogy a bit, but
yep. We're not necessarily huge fans of Star Wars, even though we talk about it. At least I'm not. But yeah, BattleTech, man. I've been playing BattleTech since the mid 80s, so I'm hugely a fan of BattleTech. Right now, I am gloss coating aliens, and when that gloss coat dries, it'll make them look all like shiny and slimy. But they come molded in black plastic, so I didn't even paint them. I just washed them off to make sure all of the form release was not on it, and then, and I've got some on my desk where the gloss coat is already finished, and they're like really glossy looking. I mean, they already look good, you know what I mean? Easiest miniatures I've ever painted. They required one coat of gloss, and that was it. I mean, I've never painted anything that was easier than this. Now, that'll change when I have to paint the Colonial Marines, Hicks and Hudson and Apone and all those guys, but at least these guys are done. And I have more to paint. This was just the 12 that came in the booster box my wife bought me. There's like a shit ton of them in the actual core game that I haven't even put together yet, but I'll tell you what, wouldn't it be fun to be playing Traveler and like have some of these in a little box to the side, and like the Travelers are, we're going to go into the ship, and then all of a sudden you drop one of these pictures on the table, and they're like, wait, what? Wrong game, man. Wrong game. No, right game. Right game. You're Travelers, right? Or playing Coriolis and somebody drops a Xenomorph on you. It's like,
this is not good.
Not good. This is not going to be a good thing at all.
I can't wait to try out Coriolis if I get to.
You'll like it if you get to.
Yeah, it's either going to be that or Call of Cthulhu.
I mean, Xenomorphs wouldn't even be a problem in BattleTech. I mean, what would a Xenomorph do? Even robot against like a light mech? Like a Xenomorph kidding versus a Jenner? That would be like, okay, whatever.
That'd be
the Jenner can run like, 100-something kilometers an hour.
Ripley's a Disney princess.
And unload lasers at a Xenomorph that would just Ripley is does Disney own Aliens?
I still wouldn't say that would be possible, but
I don't know what the chain there is.
Well, if they do own Aliens, then I guess Ripley is a Disney princess. Ripley is pretty awesome. The box set I got come with a miniature of her, of Ripley.
The Disney Princess universe will never be the same again.
Well, I mean, if you watch my good buddy Garaby's videos, everything Disney is also canon for Dungeons and Dragons, including Lego.
Yeah.
So if you want to play D&D and you want to have Optimus Prime and Lego Batman in the campaign, that's canon. You can do that. I mean, okay.
No, I guess in one of my fantasy sessions, I had TVs and
Yeah, your games
Internet.
are pretty gonzo, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe you need to talk to your GM about picking up Chult. Then you can have wars with banana people and strawberry people. Because one of the things in Chult is there's actually sentient fruit people.
Great, we're getting to late 80s TMNT.
Right. So you could be attacked by killer tomatoes, maybe? I don't know. But Disney is gobbling up everything. Yep. And yet everything they've put out in the last couple of years, other than Deadpool and Wolverine, has been an absolute failure.
Yeah, pretty much all the studios put out nothing but crap now.
Yeah. It's like we're in this desert of people just not knowing how to make movies. And I don't know, maybe it's because so many of the great directors have died of old age. You know what I mean? It's like we're not going to get anything from Clive Barker again, probably. And Coppola is done. And Kubrick is dead. So it's like all of the best movies, the people who direct, I mean, Clint Eastwood, he's still alive, but he's so old, he's probably not going to write or direct anything.
Or play it.
Right.
Either.
So it's like a lot of the people that were behind all of those amazing movies we loved as kids. Plus, it's like studios don't want to take chances anymore. Like, does anybody here remember the movie RoboJocks?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they would never make that movie now, even though it had a budget of like tens of dollars. They still just wouldn't make the movie. And it's like,
I'd definitely make the movie.
right. And that's the thing, though. It's like movies that went on to become classic hits, modern day studios would not touch.
I guess we're really lucky Gran Torino got to come out.
Well, that was Clint Eastwood. You know,
I know.
he wrote it, he directed it, he starred in it. And the one guy he calls a Patty bastard or whatever, that was his son. Like his real life son. Like,
well, he did a pretty good job too.
Take your Faith in Bagora Patty ass down the block. These boys don't want to be your friend, and I don't blame them. You know what I mean? Freaking, damn, that's a grumpy old dude, but then again, he saw some shit. Saw some stuff, you know? But, and other than him, there really was no one else in the movie that anyone had ever heard of.
Yeah,
so you figure the cost for actors for Gran Torino was probably very low because he wasn't paying anybody $20 million to be in that movie. Yeah, Rogue One is probably the best Star Wars movie Disney's ever made or maybe ever will. I mean,
that'll be
Rogue One leans into the fact that Star Wars is dark, you know? The rebels are fighting the Empire, and it's not easy. And there's not a bunch of teddy bear cannibals hanging out singing Jub Jub, wee wee, a Jub Jub, and all that bullshit. Taking down Imperial walkers with freaking trees.
Although I did like what Seth Sikowski made of the Ewoks. No, they're horrifying because they can actually eat you and take your memories.
Well, not only that, but it's like, okay, the rebels, they capture them. They're going to eat them, but then they decide they'd rather worship C3PO as a god. And then magically, they have like all these clothes
They had to eat people
for the
those
rebels
clothes.
to wear, right? And it's like, where'd they get those clothes?
People who were on Endor and got
Yeah,
eaten
people
by
they
them.
ate. They're horrible little monsters.
They're not cannibals though, because well,
You don't know
they're not
that.
eating
You've
their own,
never
at
seen
least.
them eat an Ewok. But I
Is that
think in a
fair?
sci-fi universe where you would have aliens, the rule for cannibalism would have to be expanded to include eating any sapient sentient organism. Like if it has intelligence and it can talk, you're not allowed to eat it.
Well, I mean, I would say that even if it wasn't cannibalism, though.
Alita, Queen of Mars, never seen it.
Like, here's the thing: I don't think you should be eating dolphins. Those things are too smart.
Well, I don't think
I
we
wouldn't consider
eat
that
dolphins.
cannibalism. No, I know, but I'm just saying, even if you could, I don't think you should.
No. And I don't think you should eat anything with an opposable thumb.
Fair
So
enough.
apes,
True.
monkeys, raccoons, right out. Don't eat those. But yeah.
What are you typing there, Billy?
Just replying to somebody.
If you want to watch a good Soviet movie, watch Ilya Muromets. I think it's called The Sword and the Dragon. It's about the hero, the Russian hero Ilya Muromets, and how he fought to against one of the Khans or something.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good Russian movies.
Well,
Hey, do you want to watch that one movie which had John Wayne play as a Khan?
Genghis Khan. People always bring that up, and you know what I have to say? Nothing.
The Conqueror. Yeah.
It's like, okay. I mean, you know.
That was the one role John Wayne regrets actually playing.
Well, I mean,
Or regretted.
back in those days, you know, most of the Native American Indians that were in the movies were just Jewish guys that they kind of
I know.
painted up a little redskin, you know, and just set them out there. Is like they weren't actually, for the most part. Now,
Oh, I know. but
Outlaw Josie Wells,
he didn't regret it
hired
because
actual
of
natives.
because of it's insensitive. He's like, this is a role I just shouldn't have done. That
Right.
was terrible.
It was a
in
bad movie. But yeah, in Outlaw Josie Wells, the Cherokee guy, Chief Joseph, is actually the chief of the Cherokee. And the native woman with the cut nose was an actual, you know, and when he talks to the one Tin Bears at the end, that dude was an actual native off the res, you know what I mean? So Clint Eastwood was all about it, making sure, you know, the Indians were actually Indians, but old school Hollywood, they didn't give a shit about anything, man.
Heck, even more modern Hollywood didn't care about that because you should see how they did Native Americans in the Native American character in Voyager.
Yeah, well, now they
biggest
got
crying
the one guy right, Billy in Predator.
Yeah, the famous crying Indian from those commercials in the summer. Remember that was an Italian dude.
Yep.
And I think everyone got mad at whatever Lou Diamond Phillips because it turned out he was actually Puerto Rican or something. But they always cast him as the native. But regardless, it's like Yeah, it makes no sense. But whatever. Yeah, look at this guy, boy. He's getting there. Look how shiny.
Nice.
Oh yeah. This guy will be in your nightmares at night. Or girl or
That'll be
thing.
in your next campaign, won't it?
Well, these are drones. I don't know if they're male or female. If they're like ants, they would be females. And then there would have to be a drone to impregnate the queen.
Yeah. I think bees are like that too.
Yeah. You'd have to have a drone, and then you got the queen, and the queen lays all the eggs. And then the eggs face hugger everybody. And then the rest of the aliens take care of them until they get old enough to take care of themselves. So, you know, this little thing came with a couple of special ones. Like on the base, one of them says guard, one of them says skulker, one of them says brute. So I don't know what their special rules are, but apparently scout, one of them's a scout. He's all like kneeled down looking. So I don't know what their rules are, but they did that. Now that I have Victorian completely painted, here's Victorian Greyborn. I will have to put the black wash on him. And then I will have to go back and highlight all the places I put the black wash on him. And then he will be ready to lead his army. Be lurking. Just got done trying to fix a squeaky dryer. Oh, the worst. Be blessed. You too, sir. You too. But I use where is it? Right here, this Vallejo Game Wash. Look at the size of this. You can buy
Big.
non-oil in a container like this for $7, or you can pay $14 and buy this Vallejo black wash. You know, just give it a little mix up, and it's ready to rock. You know, but I don't know. If you guys ain't got anything else to talk about, I guess it's about time to end the thing. I have to do a video sometime in the next couple of days about Destiny for Jose. Do another video about why I think Destiny is the best BattleTech role-playing game.
Yeah, I need to get a hold of that. I really want to look at that.
Well, also someone pointed out, it may have been Destin, or it may have been Jose, that you can, if you don't like XP as currency, then 1 XP equals 100,000 C-bills. They actually have the rule in the book, which to me is very exciting then, because instead of giving the players, say, 6 XP for a mission, I might give them, 3 XP and 300,000 C-bills, or whatever they, negotiated for. And that was really the only negative I ever had about Destiny, was that I don't generally like games where they try to abstract currency.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
that's
find that
weird.
most players don't like that either.
Yeah, I don't know who that's supposed to be for.
Yeah, because players want to count every copper piece.
I want to know how much I have so I can know what I can buy.
Right. Players don't want to say, well, I've got wealth level 4, so if I roll this dice, I can get this weapon. I don't know who they think wants to do that, but it's not actual people sitting around a table playing games.
I think that's one thing I just don't like about the vampire setting too.
No, in Vampire, you got
Hey.
money. Your wealth level.
Yeah, it doesn't go by wealth rank. Like, oh, you have wealth 3, so you have to roll on this to see if you can get that.
It can,
You don't
but
count your coins.
not really. There's not a lot of rolling. It's like, let's say you've got wealth 3, so you're middle class, right? You can own a home, whatever. If you decide to buy something really big, then instead of rolling, your wealth just goes down. So, because you're spending your wealth. So now you're more broke than you used to be, right?
And
But the good news is by doing stuff in game, you can raise your wealth. So, yeah.
But I mean, that's just with the bad rolls. Like, I failed to buy the candy bar. I was able to get the Porsche.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something, if I had any complaint against Destiny, that was it. And if I had any complaint against the Dark Master, that would be it. Because they do, Against the Dark Master does that. And it's like, why? Because Against the Dark Master is just a copy of MERP's, Middle Earth Role Playing. And in Middle Earth Role Playing, they don't do that.
No, I think it was just one of those things. They started doing that for like arrows and torches and shit in games, and I think they just like got carried away with themselves. They just started like trying to put that on everything.
yeah, I mean, look, I do find it a little tedious if you have to count every arrow, but I don't know, maybe I just have to. I don't know.
Well,
Whenever my players ask me that, they're like, "Are we counting arrows?" Like, you don't have to. I am.
Yeah, I am though. And Left, you would not like Twilight 2000. Because in Twilight 2000, you count every bullet.
Yeah, that's kind of the conceit of that game, though, is like, you can't.
Yeah, that's kind of part of that game. Well, in an adventure game, when you're just like out adventuring and you're an archer, I do find it a little.
Like if you play an American,
tedious.
depending on what MOS you pick, you will start with generally an M16A1 and like Die Something magazines. And then there's 30 rounds in each magazine. So if you go full auto, you fire
You're gonna run out, man.
X amount of ammo plus you roll a die to see the total amount of ammo. It's random. Like if you full auto for a round, you're not 100% sure, but you burn through all those magazines and now you're just standing there. I hope you got a combat knife or something because.
Well, I would say that I would just try to pick up a weapon from a dead body and use that for a bit, but I probably wouldn't make it that far.
Well, I mean, if you kill some Soviets or something, you might be able to pick up an AK, and maybe he's got a couple of extra magazines, so you might be able to salvage some AK rounds.
Well, that's just it. AK is probably a little bit more common over there, so you'd be able to probably find their ammunition.
But then again, you could also maybe find an old cache of NATO ammo somewhere. Or if you go to Warsaw, you might be able to go to the black market and trade for it.
Yeah.
But
who knows?
And then, of course, when you're traveling across country, if you run out of fuel, then you got to stop for X amount of days while you set up your still and you cook up a bunch of wood grain alcohol so that you can use that to fuel your vehicle because there is no gas. So your vehicle has been converted over to run off of alcohol. And the problem, though, is running Bradley or something off of wood grain alcohol drastically reduces the life time of the life expectancy of the engine.
Yeah.
It just tears shit up. So
I would actually, in that situation, I think I'd probably keep one of each rifle, just have the other one strapped to my pack, whichever one I wasn't using at the time. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
extra.
like if you pick a sniper, you can start out with like whatever your nation's sniper rifle is, and like a number plus like die 12 rounds or some shit.
What does America now use as their rifle? Is it still using like the M40s?
It's using the
In
M4, but they're getting ready to switch over to something else. I can't remember what they're calling it now.
and in Twilight 2000, because it's alternate history, the sniper rifle is the M21,
Yeah.
M20,
which is
okay.
basically an M14 that's just, got better ammo and an optic.
Again, I would have liked the M40s.
M4s
M48-3
did not
maybe.
exist in Twilight 2000.
No, not
And that was
M4,
before that
M40.
came
The M40A3, it's basically just a Remington rifle.
Yeah. I know. I'm just saying there are no M4s. There are, though, Colt Commandos.
Mm.
So if you're like special ops or something, you can say you're carrying a Colt Commando, which is what the M4 is basically based on.
Okay.
It's just an M16 carbine with a short barrel and everything like that. Yeah, Monolith Conan uses encumbrance. When you equip cards and shit, you got to keep track of it. Yeah, and like I told you, Jose, I think I bought 2, maybe 3 of the starter boxes of that game, and then I bought 2 of the box that has all of the Northmen in it and the Frost Giant. And I bought 1 of the box that is supposed to be Katai. But the box I'm really wanting to buy, if I get money that I want, to blow on something like that, is Stygia. And the Stygian box comes with like scorpions, cobras, priests of Set, and a really, really awesome double-sided map that shows like the streets of the Stygian capital.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, like desert, that game's really cool. And everything that Monolith makes for that game and everything that Modiphius made for the game can all be used with the new role-playing game, which will be out at the end of the year. The Monolith version of Conan.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But anyway, guys, my bladder is telling me it is time to
go. I'll see you then.
Well, it's good seeing you guys.
Yeah, it's good seeing you guys. Thank you for joining, and I will catch you guys later. And everyone else, hey, thanks.